Hey folks, time for another MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, guys? Jouban here.
So yeah, there was obviously some fights this weekend. I fully admit that I didn't get to watch Bellator, so we probably won't be talking about that, although thoughts go out to Joe Schilling, our mutual friend here. Hopefully he heals up. But definitely talk about some 243 and look ahead to Tampa. But Alan, I know also you were cornering some people this weekend. How'd your fighters do?
Yeah, once again, Karyn, it's one of those nights where I'm trying to corner my actual fighters in a fight and try to watch pay-per-view on the phone. So it's one of those nights trying to juggle everything. We went 1-1 Muay Thai fights. My guy Drew showed up, had a great fight. My girl Mimi, I thought she did enough to get the win. She lost a split decision. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty good night. Pretty good night of fights, and trying to watch as much as I can on the phone in between.
Absolutely. Well, I had a tennis match on Sunday, and we won.
There you go. Boom, boom,
yes.
Hey.
It's double season, though. You know, I'm usually a singles. I prefer singles, but this season is only doubles. So my girl and I went out, and we won the first set, and then the second set,
Nice.
like, I don't know, we kind of maybe... I don't know. I didn't want to take as long a break in between, but whatever. We took a break. Anyway, so we lost the second set, but then we beat him in the tie break. So it was fine. And sometimes, like, it's kind of more fun to beat him in the tie break in a way. It's like
Nice.
There's more pressure on it. It's almost like a sudden death round. You know what I mean? Like, you got to win this or go home. So we ended up winning. So it was
Who is the vocal leader on your doubles team, Karyn?
Well, I mean, we communicate with each other. I mean, that's the thing is like you know, I'm not calling out the plays and this and that. It depends on where you are in the court and like who's calling off the other one to say mine or yours. But yeah, you gotta, if you don't communicate on the court, there's a lot of like, oh shoot, that was mine. Oh, that was mine. Oh, that was mine. Which is actually why I like playing singles more because you know you gotta go for everything yourself. You know what I mean?
That was a good, honest answer. I was really expecting you to say, well, I'm the loudest, I'm going to talk the most, or something like that.
I mean, and if they let me smack talk, then that would be a whole other story. I mean, at practice, I'm pretty vocal, but in a match, I try to be respectful.
Hey, yes. Yeah. Very humble in defeat.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't like... some people when they play against a team, they'll tell the other person like, "Oh, good shot" when they burn me. I don't like telling them good shot. I'm like, "F you."
Yeah.
Like I don't compliment my opponent on a good shot. Like no.
Yeah, no touching gloves in between every single round. We do it in the first round, maybe the last round.
Exactly. Well, anyway, we know that there was a big, huge win for Israel Adesanya. The guy is a legit star. You know, it's funny because before this, I think both of us were kind of like, I don't know how this is going to go. I just really don't. I know I had said I always find it hard to bet against Whittaker because this man has done so many things. I find it hard to bet against him. But coming into this fight, like I really didn't know if that layoff would affect him. I kind of didn't think it would. But Israel just looked amazing. And, you know, it's funny because in this fight, like, I thought Robert looked pretty good at the beginning. Oh, hi, Harmsy. Do you want to come up? I got a puppy dog wants to ride shotgun today on the show. Oh, all right. If you come a little closer, I'll get to it. At any rate, I thought Robert started out pretty well. Like, he was definitely trying to initiate the action. You could tell there were times he really had to kind of overreach for stuff. And you know, that can be worrying. If you feel like somebody's going to exhaust themselves or they're trying so hard, you know, to close that distance, and was it really going to work? And before he even got dropped at the end of the first round, though, there was something happened, and there was this little shift in the momentum. And I remember I looked at Wade and I was like, you know, the longer this fight goes on, the more I think it's Israel's fight. Like something had just changed. And then he dropped him. And then I was like, oh, boy, you know, and then the second round came out and we knew that had happened. And I wish I could remember what it was. But there was one thing that I literally paused and was like, wait, something just changed. And it's strange how little things like that can happen.
Well, to your point, Karyn, I think the longer almost any fight goes that Israel is involved in, it plays to his advantage. And it's not necessarily to the fact that he's a more 5-round fighter than someone else or that he's more a cardio machine than someone else, but it's his style.
Yeah.
His style is so smooth and he's so comfortable. And with his style, it causes people, as you said, for people like Robert Whittaker or anyone else who's facing like a striking length differential or anything like that, they have to close the distance. If you're fighting Israel, you're either closing the distance in reach or you're trying to get him on the mat. You're trying to take him down. You're trying to So you're working harder in the fights. Israel is just playing it cool, finding his shots, picking his points, trying to stay on his feet, let you tire down. Because once you're standing toe-to-toe, flat-footed, and it becomes a tick-for-tack match, once you're in range, it slows down. Then he's seeing everything, right? Then it's like the Matrix for him, because now it's slow motion. Now he's fighting the fight he wants to fight. So I feel like he makes guys kind of exhaust themselves early because they're going for it early because they're scared of the fight slowing down. The thing that stood out to me in the fight, though, was the chins. The chins in the fight. Israel has a pretty phenomenal chin that we've seen so far, right? I mean, he's taken some shots in his fights. He's been banged up. His last fight, you know, his lip was all swollen up. He took some hard shots. This fight, Whittaker was landing his at times, doing some damage. But we haven't really seen Israel stumble, drop, knock down, or really in a world of hurt. He has been knocked out. Israel Adesanya in, I think it was Glory or K1 has been knocked out before. I don't think anything else aside from, you know, he's had like 100 kickboxing fights or something like that,
he's undefeated in MMA, but in kickboxing, he's been through more.
So he's got a number of losses in kickboxing, and I think from only that I've seen, 1 or 2 of those were knockouts. So for a career spanning of 100 kickboxing fights and what is he at now, 15, 20 MMA fights or so, he hasn't taken that much damage in terms of concussion, knockout, injury. And so his chin is holding up against these hard hitters and these guys putting on all the damage. On the other side of it, though, what did you think about Whittaker's chin? I feel like I saw an interesting post before this podcast where George Masvidal said, once you fight my man, who am I blanking on? The guy that fought Whittaker twice.
Yoel Romero.
Thank you. Once you fight Yoel Romero, you're never the same. We know that. We've seen Yoel
you're
Romero.
Not the same.
Yeah, we've seen him sleep numerous people. And he hits very hard. Him and Robert Whittaker had their very tough wars. Robert Whittaker showed that he's a true champion coming out of those. But how much damage did he take? How much rattled was his brain? And did that show the effects in this fight, him going down numerous times in this fight?
Yeah, it's tough to say because I was quite surprised when he just got laid out at the end of that first round like that.
I was too.
And Israel, you know, him saying, "Oh, everybody says I don't have any power and this and that." Well, he obviously has some power. Yeah, I do think that Robert's button was pressed quite a few times, like you said, by Yoel and by these other people that he's been through. And Kelvin was able to test Adesanya's chin some, you know, like you said, Kelvin, you know, put it to him. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it was so much that. I mean, the chin also could be for Robert, like, you know, not necessarily ring rust, but there is a lot. I mean, it was they set the new attendance record for the UFC. It was 57,127, I think.
Great.
That is a lot of pressure coming back after that long layoff at, you know, home basically in Melbourne in front of 57,000 people. You coming back, you're defending your title and trying to win a new title. Like, there was a lot on it. And while I fully believe Robert is the guy that can handle that, like, there's no way that didn't get to you a little bit, right? We don't know what kind of adrenaline dump he could have had. And they were talking about, you know, that walkout took forever, you know what I mean, to like get out there. Like, there's a lot of time to like, I don't know. It maybe wasn't the ideal setting for Robert's comeback fight, but I don't want to take anything away, obviously, from Israel because, you know, we knew as soon as this guy showed up that he was something special, you know, and I feel like all of us knew he was a future champ. We just didn't know when it was coming, you know. I really feel like that was it. It wasn't like anybody doubted that he had the skill set and the ability and the charm. Like, he's the complete package, you know what I mean, in terms of being able to be great on the microphone. He has other interests. I mean, when you watch that guy Crump dance, which we'll get to the walkout in a second, but like he is a legit potential star. I mean, you can't argue with what he did to Robert Whittaker, one of the toughest dudes on the planet.
He looked amazing. Robert Whittaker, maybe it wasn't an ideal situation for him. The thing about him, he's so, and these words are overused, but they fit him perfectly. Cool, calm, collected. I mean, when you think of cool, calm, collected, I picture Robert Whittaker, well-shaved, well-groomed, in a suit. He's got his collar
He looks
popped.
good. He cleans up well, Alan.
He cleans up well. He looks like he smells good with some cologne, probably wearing Versace. You know what I'm getting at, guys.
You know.
Cool, calm, collected. He doesn't show the nerves. He doesn't show the caliber of the magnitude of the fight that he's about to go. He doesn't show that he's been out for a year or two or faced numerous injuries or had his knee replaced, and now he's fighting in front of the largest attendance record in UFC history.
Yeah.
He doesn't show those things. We don't feel those nerves, but they're inside of him. Yeah. He handles them very well. It just wasn't his night. And for Adesanya, it was a counterpunch that eventually did it in for Whittaker. And anytime you have like a well-placed counterpunch, when somebody's throwing a punch and you counter them during that, it's all credit due to Adesanya, because it was the timing, the precision, the accuracy, those type of things. Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo. You can't, like, as much as Jose Aldo was messed up in the head, that was all Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? That was just a beautiful timed punch with the perfect amount of speed and power. Same thing in this one. Adesanya timed it well. It landed right where it needed to land, and it was lights out for him. Can we get to the walkout now? I'm ready to talk about this with you, Karyn.
Well, yeah, that walkout was dope. But just to wrap up what you're saying, too, Israel has such a great use of his body. Like, he understands the length, all of that stuff. Like, because like you said, those were like sort of fadeaway counters, too, in a way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just that Robert was just exactly where he needed to be at the right length from Israel. Like, he was very successful, I think, in using his length and using his reach and tagging those. Like, it just, that last combo that put him away was great.
And just to put this to bed, to piggyback off of what you're saying, that kind of fadeaway counter that he's doing, that's kind of a new look for him. If I remember correctly, right? He's always been kind of more of a flashy, I always say tick for tack, but, you know, he wants to trick you, set up the question mark kick. He wants to do this, get it in there. He will counter sometimes, but to be in the pocket and then kind of leaning out, coming up Muhammad Ali style, lean back, counter, that was somewhat of a new little feather in his cap to his game. So I applaud him for making an adjustment during the fight, or knowing that before the camp, during the camp, and making that adjustment. It worked beautifully in this fight.
Yeah, maybe he got it from Anderson too, right? Remember with Forrest, like bam, bam, bam. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you never know. And I do think it's funny because we were saying, like, he really, I mean, I hate when people like contextualize somebody as somebody else, but he is the new Anderson for me. You know what I mean? I feel like he has the potential to put on those kind of exciting fights like Anderson did, to do that holy crap cool stuff inside the octagon like Anderson did. You know what I mean? Will he go on as incredible a run? Maybe not, right? Because the middleweight division is different and there's a lot of talent there. But I just feel like when I watch it, like, see, I told you, get on it, girl. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? You going to sit on a pillow? I'm
glad Bodie's not trying to climb up here for me. Bodie can stay over there.
Easy, girl. Easy. All right, Harmsy. Here, let me give you a little more support back here. She likes to sit back behind us sometimes on the couch. Where you going, baby?
I do feel what you're saying, that he is the new star. He is the new Anderson. And to double down on that, you know what it does for me? As a young guy coming into MMA, when I started, not only was Anderson that star quality, but he was the striker amongst the wrestlers, right? He was the striker. Everybody feared his striking. Everybody wanted to take him down. He always found a way to counter you or outstrike you.
Right.
And Israel is that guy again. He is that guy. In a promotion, the UFC, full of champions, where predominantly all of them are wrestling bases, we now have that pure striker, not just I prefer to strike.
Yeah.
This is a K1 striker that came into the sport of MMA, acquired wrestling defense, jiu-jitsu defense, and stands on the feet the entire time. And now he's a world champion, and he did it in one of the quickest time spans that we've ever seen from a young guy entering the UFC.
Yeah, he's impressive. But yes, that walkout, I thought it was really dope. You know, like as I mentioned,
really dope.
Israel was, he was a crump dancer before. I mean, obviously the guy can dance. If you look at his Instagram and stuff, sometimes he'll put up videos of him dancing and stuff. So much fun. But yeah, the whole bit, the choreographed stuff, like, a long time ago, at one of the other fights in Melbourne, James Tahuna had done a Men in Black walkout down there, which I also thought was really cool. So I thought Israel's was really great. I don't know what your take is on it, because you're the one who's the fighter who, you know, I could see how some people would think like, oh, maybe that's kind of corny, but I thought it was cool.
Not at all. It was fire. It was awesome. I watched the thing a number of times. I wanted to see what he was doing. I wanted to see what his backup dancers were doing. I wanted to see the story that they were telling. It was like they came out, they did the what is it, the hook, the haka, the
yeah. So good.
They were doing all that, winning over the crowd is what they were doing. They were hyping up the crowd, winning the crowd over. And then at the very end, he did his thing, and then he put his hands behind his back, and they gave him a high five, and they ran off, sending their warrior into battle, symbolizing basically. I was like, this is dope. I mean, this is the new era of the UFC.
Yeah.
You said it before that James Tahuna did it at one time, the Man in Black team. I thought he killed it there. We've seen Conor McGregor do, the first time we had when he had, what's her name, was singing the song, and he walked out. That was one of the other bigger walkout moments that I can remember.
Yeah.
But this one takes the cake. Not only was it just the best, well done. I mean, he's obviously probably the best dancer inside of the UFC.
Right.
But the swagger that came with it, the hype train that he's got right now, winning the fight on top of that.
Yeah.
And the amount of pressure and balls, I'm sorry to say this. I know this is probably the word of the era that we don't use anymore. But he's got big balls, Karyn. He's got big balls to choreograph that. He said like 3 days before that, go and rehearse it. The magnitude of this fight, 60,000 people going to win over the belt and be the undisputed champion, and to say, you know what, I'm going to throw a dance routine in here to just add a little bit more pressure and weight upon my shoulders.
Yeah.
Now I've got to think about everything with the mindset, everything my coaches want me to capitalize on in the fight, and make sure I'm popping and locking and hitting my moves. That way I don't mess up the intro. It's a lot of pressure, and it shows that he deals with pressure well. He loves these type of moments. He's a performer. He's an entertainer. And he's a real fighter.
Yeah, and I think it's too, in a way too, though, that it also could, on the flip side, alleviate the pressure, right? Because this is fun. Like, he likes it.
Because he likes it.
That's fun.
It gets him in a good mood. It's chilling.
Right, get in your playful vibe. Like, we're just out here, having a good time, having that playfulness. And I think there's something about Israel too that he, he does have that little bit of a chip on his shoulder, where it's kind of like, okay, go ahead and doubt me. You know what I mean? Go ahead and doubt me. I'll prove you wrong. It's cool. You all thought I wasn't going to be this anyway. And so I feel like there is a little bit of that. But, to your point about saying he has big balls, I'm pretty sure wasn't Israel the one that came in the octagon that time and said, I just peed all over this place and marked my territory, if I'm not mistaken.
You're
I think that was Israel before. So the theme is right, that he was like, I'm the new dog on the block. But, it's funny because I had asked people on Twitter about if they had any questions for us. And somebody had a question actually about that Riot Girl 437. She said, do you think we will see an uptick in fighters wanting to have special walkouts in upcoming fights? And if yes, do you think the UFC will allow it? What will be the qualifications to have one? I'm thinking about big events like this weekend and Conor versus Mendez with those live walkouts, like you said, because Chad had that country singer. Conor had Sinead O'Connor singing. I'm all for it. I feel like maybe with the William Morris angle in with the UFC, like they could end up doing more of those, and it could be a thing, right? I mean, it's just tough because we don't always get to see all the walkouts. I do when we're in the arena. Like, it'd be something, maybe if they know they're going to do it, they would incorporate it more into the show. I just am not sure everybody can pull it off. So I have a feeling that it's just like, on a as not as needed basis, but like when there are big fights, but the people can support it. Like, I don't know if everybody wants to dance on their walkout. I don't see Stipe doing a dance walkout.
No, well, I mean, he did a dance finish after he finished. He did like the river dance thing or whatever it was. But I like it. I love it. It's entertainment. We all are talking about it right now. We loved it. Of the fans in the background when he was doing the dance. The fans are into it. Everybody had their phone out. It became a thing right away. I like it. I hope they were able to incorporate it. What I do is I think, what would Dana White say? That could be like a segment. What would Dana say? I feel like Dana, though, would be, he'd be like, hey, look, hey, the guy could obviously dance. He's an entertainer. It was to unify the belts. He wanted to do it. I gave it to him. That's probably Dana's words. If you're a champion and you're putting butts in the seats and it's pay-per-view and you've got 60,000 people in the arena, we're going to allow this. If it's a small card with 8,000 person arena and there's no championship fights, they're probably not going to do it. But I think it is a smart thing, like you said, with the William Morris effect that we have right now, where it's more of an entertainment industry. And let's not forget, we're not trying to copy other promotions, but other promotions like Bellator are having success. They're having a lot of success with those very flashy, glamorous. They have the TV screens in the background, and they're doing a lot of fireworks in the shows. And I think they kind of brought back the energy into Bellator with those type of things. And I've always loved like the old Pride or One or all those type of things, and where you would see Japanese fighters coming out to slow love songs. I mean, it would be a love song, and they'd have 30 guys behind them, and they'd be walking. And it was just something. It was like watching a movie, and then these guys would fight, and that's entertainment. That's WWE is entertainment, and fighting is also partial entertainment. So I'm 100% for it. I hope that this comes up with Dana White and they do start allowing more of it. I think it'd be great for the sport.
I think it'd be really cool. You know, we actually had a couple more questions too about some of the stuff with the fights this weekend. Like they're saying, who do you think this is from Pillars of Salt, asking who do you think presents the biggest challenge for Israel moving forward? Also asking who should Whittaker fight next? And then, well, how come we haven't booked Tony versus Khabib yet? Which I don't know, because come on, let's just make that darn fight. I don't get it. But yeah, I don't know, because, you know, Israel was talking about Paulo Costa. He's like, there's a Ricky Martin lookalike out there, an inflated, swollen Ricky Martin lookalike. I want to get to him before USADA does. All this, that, and the other thing. We know those two have been jawing at each other. So, I mean, I feel like that could potentially be the next fight that gets made. I don't know that Costa is the biggest threat to Israel, though. I feel like somebody who would be a bigger threat to Israel is somebody that can put wrestling together as well. I mean, like, look what Kelvin did. Kelvin, you know, I don't even remember if Kelvin took him down or whatever. Kelvin was obviously a very big threat to Israel Adesanya. I feel like a biggest threat to him would be somebody that is also a very good wrestler. Yeah,
and somebody that could just do it very well. But I do feel that, like, if you're looking at a pecking order, who's next in line? Yes, Paulo Costa, and man, I would like to see Yoel Romero as well. Yoel Romero and Borrachinha, those are probably the two that pop right in my mind right away. But Paulo Costa, I don't really know offhand like his resume just yet. I think he is undefeated in the UFC, right? And he's probably got like teed off maybe like 4 wins or so since he's been in the UFC, or maybe more than that. Probably more than that.
Well, he beat Romero, so.
Yeah, and he beat Romero, so he's kind of the guy that hasn't had that big shot yet, but he's kind of the younger or newer in the UFC guy with all the momentum. So, yes, I think that fight makes sense. And then the jawing back and forth after the fight kind of helps sell it, set it up where Yoel Romero has already kind of had his big shot opportunities. I'd love to see him fight, but he's already had a taste of that. And so I kind of want to see the new blood get up in there. And since there's a beef with it anyway, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. But it is interesting that, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we know Kelvin's fighting Darren Till. But Kelvin, maybe his stock went up, right? Even though he lost to Israel, his stock should have gone up because Robert Whittaker didn't make it out of the second round. Yeah. And Kelvin went all the way. You know?
And what happens in that fight, too, though? It's like,
but somebody actually asked about that one. Gabriel Gonzalez is asking, we know Gabriel. Do you think Adesanya versus Costa ends up on a big card like International Fight Week in the USA? Or do you think the two of them carry an event in New Zealand similar to Saturday? So that's the whole thing, right? Because they're talking about maybe going to New Zealand. We certainly can't wait till International Fight Week, right? That's too long to wait to see Israel fight somebody. He can probably fight pretty soon because he didn't take a lot of damage in that fight. Costa's waiting up. I feel like, they could make that maybe the Super Bowl weekend show, which is always usually a big show as well. I think that waiting too long for International Fight Week. But yes, do I think that you could put an Adesanya versus a Paulo Costa in New Zealand or something like that? Sure. It's interesting now, though, when we have the whole thing with the champions, do they get to defend on home soil? Does the challenger have to go? Jessica Andrade defended her title in China and lost it there. So maybe you would say, okay, it can't be in Brazil and it can't be down under either. It has to be in Vegas. I don't know. I don't know if they would try to find neutral ground for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was almost more a single incident. Not a single. It happened a couple times, but for the women's division.
Yeah, because Rose lost hers in Brazil. Right.
Yeah, the women were kind of having to travel, and then they kind of created a pattern where they kind of kept following it. I don't know if it rings as true with some of the men, and I don't know why. I'm not saying because it's men and women are different in it, but I feel like they like having that champion in the home country. But let me think real quick. Stipe knocked out in Brazil, he knocked out
Fabricio in Brazil.
But yeah, that was in Brazil. He went to Brazil to face the champion.
Yeah, so Fabricio was a champ, exactly, which is actually his undoing, and that's the cautionary tale, because he got to fight at home, and he hadn't been there for a while, and was totally distracted. A million requests for his time, a million friends, yada yada yada, totally not focused. So
I'll tell you what lost Fabricio that fight. It was the damn.
I know.
The damn smile. All he was doing in every interview was that smile. Everybody in the audience had that face
love
thing.
Fabricio, though.
And then he gets knocked out. I know. I'm a fan. I'm just saying. I was like, oh, they went all in on it, and it took his mind off of the fight.
Yeah. All right. Let me see if I have any more questions about these fights. But more questions. Riot Girl had a few. Do you think that we would see basically Jones versus Adesanya? Because what do you think? Like, do you think there needs to be like qualifications before you have these champ fights? Like, basically, she's saying like, do you need to have cleaned out the division before you should be afforded a champ fight? Right? Basically, we knew Conor had done everything he needed to do in featherweight. You could argue, so that made sense for him to go up and fight Eddie at lightweight. But do you think that, like, for example, Cejudo just got there. It's not like he cleaned anything out. He just kind of got there and then was able to score another belt.
Yeah.
I personally do think you should kind of live in your division for a while if you're the champ. I feel like 100%. You should live in it and defend it for a while before you just go seeking another one.
Yes, because it messes everything up, right? Yeah. Once you win the belt, then the next person is in line, right? And then once you start saying, I want to go to another division and do these super fights, the division is then held up and nothing makes sense anymore. Why have rankings if the champion's fighting elsewhere, and if you're winning and you're number 2 and now you should be the contender, but you have to wait because, it doesn't make any sense. Once you've cleaned out the division or put your stamp on the division, 2 or 3 fights in a row, finish the guys, and you say, okay, look, we've taken out the number 1, 2, and 3 contenders. 4, 5, and 6 can hang out for a minute while I do a super fight. That makes more sense. Look, Israel is the hottest thing in the UFC right now, right? At this moment, it's the hottest thing. So you might think both sides of the coin. Strike while the iron's hot. Get the Jones fight. You're hot right now.
Right.
Other side of the coin. When you're the champion and the iron's hot, you want to make money. You want to make money, okay? Yeah. Fighting makes you money, but also outside of fighting makes you money. Endorsement deals, movies, everything that comes with having the goal around your waist.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity for Israel to take advantage of that. He's been fighting very frequently. Now that he has the belt, I'm not mad at him if he wants to keep fighting. But take a little time in between, absorb some money from all these other sponsors and people that want to get with you and work with you, make some money. And then don't go fight the greatest fighter, the baddest gifted fighter we have ever had inside the octagon, and possibly derail that hype train. Because I love you, Adesanya, but I don't think you're going to beat John Jones, man. I'm sorry. He is too tall in the striking, and he's too good in the wrestling, and he's going to have a substantial size advantage on you. You want that fight after you've railed off 3 wins in a row. Mm-hmm. You put another $10 million in the bank, and you say, you know what? I'm going big or go home. But not right now. Right now is the time to capitalize on the money.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'd be way too soon and really not a smart move. Oh, you're done, Hardy? Are you done with the podcast for now? You want to say bye-bye? Do you want to go down? Okay. Bye-bye. I think you're right. Like, he should capitalize on what he has right now. And John said something like, by the time this kid is ready to even fight here, I'll be a heavyweight. They were going back and forth. I think, there's a lot of great money fights at middleweight, like the top of that division. All of those are fighters that everybody wants to see fight each other. Like, there's great fights in middleweight. Mm-hmm. You don't need to move up yet for that. I agree that he should try to cash in. And to me, like, Israel already, he has so much charisma already. I remember just after the first time interviewing, you could kind of see it anyway. But I remember the first time interviewing him, I was like, this guy, he really is the complete package. He's got it all together. So if I'm him, if he isn't already, he should be in acting classes too, by the way, because he has a natural charisma. He's got a great look. Obviously, he can fight. He can dance. He can do all these other things. And I don't know if you watch the show Snowfall. I do. It's a very good show. There's a guy named Damson Idris who is the lead on Snowfall. And I think he and Israel could play brothers in something. They have like a similar look to them. And Damson is like really intense on Snowfall. People should a really good show about how crack cocaine came to Los Angeles. It's a sad like subject or whatever, but it's a really good show. But anyway, I see the two of them like playing brothers in something gritty and this and that. Anyway, I just feel like, yeah, Israel, take a breath, man. You've achieved some incredible things. Like pump the brakes, enjoy it for a minute, live in it. Don't rush, the next huge competition. Yeah, I agree.
He is an entertainer, and like we're both agreeing on, cash in on it right now, man. Cash in on it, man.
Yep. All right, let me see if there's any more questions here. Yeah, there was a couple here. So, somebody just asked one about, they were saying Ann Wenzel is saying, hey, I think it's time that we have an all-female fight night card or pay-per-view. There could be at least 2 title defenses. We have enough amazing female fighters. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's make it happen. I would watch it. I mean, the argument is that people are just going to go, it's called Invicta. But, and it's on most Fridays. You know what I mean? And so it does exist, but to her point, I agree. There's enough really great female matchups. Like, hello, this weekend we have Joanna versus the Karate Hottie. So we'll get to that
main
in a minute,
event too, correct? Is that main event?
Yeah, that's the main event in
event.
Tampa.
Look at that.
Dude, it's dope.
Yeah.
Totally agree. We, if you put Wei Li Zhang on a fight over here in America or something, defending hers, like, I definitely think we could do it. I think we could have an incredible amount of fights. We know the women often really go after it. So I'm down. Maybe it wouldn't be a pay-per-view, but a fight night, all-female fight night card, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting. I kind of want to build this card with you real quick. We'd have Amanda Nunes main eventing over whoever the contender is. We'd have Wei Li maybe co-main eventing.
Yep.
Who else would be on that card?
So they would be, because they're basically saying this weekend Joanna and Michelle could be a title eliminator, so that could be on there. But hell no, you could have Valentina Shevchenko versus like 5 women.
Oh yeah, exactly. Shevchenko would have to be on there.
We could have yeah. So they'd be there. I mean, also
well.
look at Megan Anderson, just won this past weekend, and although she says, she was struggling with some things with her confidence and stuff, she's back on the winning track. She was saying something about she thinks she could be next for Amanda. I think that's a little ambitious and a little too soon for her. I'd like to see her put some more things together, and I know she got a triangle, but I'd like to see her develop her ground more, even though Amanda's a striker. But we have so many great women. We have Tatiana Suarez. There are so many great and talented women now. We didn't get the Rocky versus Holly fight because Holly got injured. We could put that one back on there. You know what I mean? There's enough really solid fights that I think top to bottom you could have, like Cynthia Calvillo. You could have like a lot of kick-ass chicks on one card.
And honestly, I don't even think it would have to be an entire card of women, but you make the main card, 5 to 6 fights. That's 10 to 12 women. You take either the best 10 to 12 women inside the UFC or some of the best with some of the biggest names, the Michelle Watersons, people like that put butts in the seats. And that would be a fun card. I mean, you fill the rest with just whatever the normal prelims would be with guys and girls. But you kind of promote it as this special, the elite women of MMA. That could that'd be a fun thing. The card that I cornered this weekend, the Muay Thai card, was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be like girls' night out, all women fights, and then slowly but surely, girls started falling out. They put guys on there. They ended up having to, get some more butts in the seats or fill some slots because girls got hurt. But they are doing that other places. And yes, I know it's called Invicta, but they are doing it in other promotions as well.
Yeah, we do it around Mother's Day or something. It'd be great. But you know what? I was also saying, too, the thing with Israel now, I was like, hey, now we're one step closer to UFC Africa, which would be amazing, right? Because we have him as a champion. We have Kamaru as a champion. With Francis Ngannou as a total beast. We've got Sadiq Youssef, who's totally we could totally do UFC Africa.
Yeah. I know. I don't know why, but I just really, really want that to happen. I love when the UFC invades new countries and we require new fans, and it's a new groundbreaking thing that always excites me.
It'd be really cool. Well, so listen, the co-main event, backtracking back to 243 in Melbourne, Dan Hooker and Al Iaquinta. Before this fight, I think we all knew that this was 2 really, really tough guys and weren't sure how it was going to go because Al's, incredibly tough. And I feel like a lot of time he doesn't get credit for being as good as he is. Goes 5 rounds with Khabib on a day's notice. But Dan Hooker in this one really just put on a great performance. And I feel like he just did everything right in this one. What was your take on it?
Same thing. He kept the proper distance. He chopped the leg. He forced his opponent to switch stances, which takes away his arsenal. He did everything right. And when I was thinking about this fight, Karyn, I was like, who do I want to go with stylistically, this and that? And then I thought about how well Cowboy Cerrone did against why am I blanking? Iaquinta, thank you. How well Cowboy Cerrone did with his style of striking and his length. And then I said, you know what? Hooker and Cerrone are not that far off stylistically and body type. You know, they're both tall, lanky guys. They both throw a lot of kicks and knees and elbows, and they strike at range. And so from there, I said, you know what? This is probably going to be Hooker's night if he doesn't get caught by Al. And Al, he always, even after changing stances to his weak side to protect his leg that was injured, he was still winging shots that almost landed on Hooker and almost took Hooker out. But Hooker was smart enough just to get out of range, stayed on that low calf kick, hurt him the entire fight. Big win for him. I mean, him and Israel, teammates, friends. Yeah. They go out there, the biggest card of their life, win the biggest fight of their life. Both of these guys have a tremendous amount of momentum coming out this weekend.
Yeah, no, Hooker's really good. I like him, and he had a great called out your boy Dustin Poirier.
Oh, Dustin,
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Take my money. That would be a great fight.
Dustin shot it down right away. He wants the Irishman. I don't know, but it's just like Hooker responded. He goes, "You're waiting around for the Irishman," or something like that. You know, I feel though that Dustin might know something. You know, like I feel like there's maybe some back and forth talk, or maybe the UFC's talking about it. For him to say that right away to shut it down, I don't think he's scared. Well, I do think this. I do think that Dustin just had a belt and just fought to unify the belt. Yeah. And where is Hooker ranked right now? Do you know, Karyn, where he's ranked at the moment? Or before going into this fight, is he in the top 5? Or
where Dan was? Gosh, that's a good question.
I feel like Hooker's somewhere like 5 to 10 though, right? He's
I feel like he was maybe number 9. I'm sorry, right. I don't know exactly.
We're kind of guessing at the moment, but I don't think he's in the top 5 yet. And so for Dustin, who's ranked somewhere like in the top 2 or 3, to fight a number 9 or number 8 guy, it's a bit of a stretch. I see what he's saying. He's still in that slot where he could fight a Tony Ferguson, he could fight a Conor McGregor, he could fight somebody in that top 5 that's a bigger payday, bigger name. So doesn't quite make sense for Dustin Poirier, but a smart call out from Dan Hooker.
Yeah, well, I love that, he's trying to move up the ranks, right? Because he should. Like, it's smart to call those people out. It's smart to ask for the bigger fights that you want.
It's your time on the mic. Yeah, you want to drop a name, and the UFC loves that when you drop a name, especially in smart business for you to call out a name bigger than yours.
Well, right. And he's not going to just call out Khabib, right? And we know we're just talking about that, the Tony fight. We need that. So I think Poirier is a really smart call out. But yeah, to Dustin's point, I understand why you're not going to want to say yes to it. A lot of people don't want to fight down in the rankings and all that. So so I get it. But I applaud Dan Hooker, and like you said, a great night for city kickboxing. The thing that made me sad, if I'm being honest with you, Alan, is that Tuivasa lost. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit bummed out about that because I wanted
your heart was there.
I wanted the whole bit, and and he does look better. Like, he's been working hard and trying to be more fit. And I thought I agreed with him. Like, he did look physically better. He looked like he'd been training some things. But my man needs some takedown defense. Like, he got taken down like 8 times or something like in the first round, and and then just didn't have what I mean. He was able to get up obviously a bunch of times because you don't get taken down that many times if you didn't also get back up. But it just it was very frustrating for me as somebody who really likes Ty to see that there was such a glaring hole that Spivak was able to just exploit. And then at the end, it was just wore out Ty. And that's so hard. It's at home. He's been on a losing streak. He's really trying to turn everything around. And maybe he thought that fighting at home would buoy him and make him fight better. But again, it could have been too much. He maybe should have tried to come back on a quiet little card somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, without all that pressure on him. I don't know what was going on with him, but he's such a likable guy, and there's so much to him that fans connect with. But you got to win fights. You got to win the fights.
He's going through the normal kind of ups and downs
growing
of a
pains,
UFC career. Yeah, the growing pains. It really is. He came on the scene fast. Had some good fights, some good wins, and then he had
Yeah.
the personality. He was very charismatic, the Shoey.
Yeah.
And it brought him a lot of notoriety and attention and big fights. And now that he's kind of stepping up in competition, he's going through the ups and downs. And also, the more you fight, the more people watch what you do and they see what you do wrong and they exploit it. That's kind of what's happening to him. Hopefully, he goes through the normal growing pains of he's at a low right now and he comes back and fixes those things.
Yeah, we know people can turn it around. Otherwise, it was an interesting card. What was it? The Riddell Malarkey card fight was fight of the night, I believe, which was insane. They're throwing punches still at the end on their knees and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
That was it was nuts. It was nuts. But overall, I thought there were a couple of good fights. If I'm being honest, I wasn't like blown away. But Dan and Al and Israel and Robert, I think was a good payoff at the end. But
agreed.
But of course, the UFC never slows down, Alan.
Never, Karyn. Never. There's not fights this weekend, though. Right?
Oh, there is. I'm going to Tampa early Thursday morning.
Oh, you're on this one. You're working.
Oh, yeah. I'm on this one. So we got karate Hottie Michelle Waterson against Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Listen,
I'm torn,
dude.
I follow both of them. I like both of them.
Right? I would love to know if you fans out there have a definitive pick in this one, because I've argued this one back and forth a lot of times, and partly I think, obviously we know Joanna's striking is so crisp and fast, and if you look at her Instagram or anything that she's doing right now, she's working so much more boxing even. She went up and tried her luck at 25, coming back down to strawweight. So I feel like the weight cut issue might be interesting, right? Because that was challenging for her in the past. If anything has helped her to lose, it was maybe hard weight cuts, right? But she's such a talented woman, and this could be the reset button for her. You know what I mean? Just starting over, down here at strawweight with a very tough competitor. But if she is able to beat Michelle, she can go maybe right back into a title shot. Whereas Michelle, obviously we know how gritty she is. We know that this woman doesn't give up. She's got the karate background, but she also has submissions. So obviously I think she's got that submission edge on Joanna. And I think Michelle maybe doesn't always even get credit for how tough she is. I think sometimes people look at her, oh, she's so cute and sweet and stuff. But when you actually watch her get down in a fight, this girl's got some heart and she really can dig tough. So I don't know.
I'm torn, Karyn. I like to give wink kissy emojis to both of these girls on Instagram all the time. And
I know, they're both great.
That's how I show my support. I really do like both of these girls. I like their fighting style, their personalities. They're good people. I can't pick somebody in this fight, but I'd have to say, Joanna. She's probably going to be the faster, better, crisper striker. I can see her kind of busting up karate. But karate Hottie has looked so good on the ground. As I remember her last couple of fights, she would get that ground control. She would have that wide base side control. No way of getting up from that. And she was doing a tremendous amount of ground and pound damage with that base. So if she's able to get the fight to the ground, I can see her doing a lot of damage. I'm not going to pick one. I just hope these girls put on a great show and both of them escape it healthy.
Yeah, I can't pick on this one, but I do feel like what you were just saying there about Michelle on the ground, like she's a woman who I feel I've seen just marked improvement and growth, and I feel like every time she really is better. You know what I mean? Some people maybe just go to the gym and keep practicing the stuff that they're already good at, so when you come out and you see them in a fight, you don't necessarily see improvements, right? Oh, they're great again. But I feel like I've seen, since Michelle got in the UFC, I just feel like I've really seen her improve. Like, this woman just keeps getting better and better and better. So yeah, I don't know.
Tough one. I know. I agree. It's a tough one.
But it's a fan-friendly fight, that's for darn sure. Yeah, so I'll be working that one. Also on that card, co-main event, Cub Swanson. Look at, folks, we're slightly, I don't want to say prejudicial, but we work with Cub a lot over at UFC now. Cub is such a great dude.
Yeah.
Not to say that Kron Gracie isn't. I just don't know him that well. I've only met him briefly. But my heart is always with Cub in a fight. Like, I find it really hard to watch him lose. I find it amazing when he wins. Like, and Cub, same thing. Back against the wall. We're talking about Ty and his situation. Cub has definitely had ups and downs and things like that, and is having a little bit of a harder time. But Kron, obviously a jiu-jitsu guy. Cub could outstrike him. So Cub, I feel, obviously is looking to stay on the feet and light him up. But he knows jiu-jitsu as well. The only hiccup, he had to find some other places to train because he's usually a Gracie guy. And they were like, yeah, you're fighting a Gracie, so you can't train here.
Oh, man. They blacklisted him.
Yeah.
Gracie's. That's a shame. Yeah, I don't really know about this fight, Karyn. The thing is, Kron, I'm not sold on him just yet. I like him. I've been watching him in the jiu-jitsu scene for quite a while. He is one of the real elite jiu-jitsu guys. There's a lot of guys coming to the UFC and they say, well, this guy's a black belt and he's a world champion. Right. And we're like, well, what does that really mean, though? Because I'm a world champion. I've got some gold medals from jiu-jitsu, but I didn't compete in the best guys against in the world at certain events. Kron has. Kron is competing against the best guys in the world. His lineage doesn't get any better when you talk about jiu-jitsu and his family and where he came from and the age that he started training. So he's obviously one of the most elite jiu-jitsu competitors we have inside of the octagon, but he's had some kind of fast, rather easy wins. And I haven't seen him go through the back and forth of a fight, handle the momentum shifts, handle having to shoot, get stuffed, get up again, strike, shoot, repeat that over and over. So can Cub present that? You would think so. Cub is one of the more well-rounded people inside of the octagon. But, man, Cub has been really up and down as of lately in his career. And I don't know if it's just father of time, age, the sport caught up with him or what. But, we've seen some highs and lows out of Cub, and we've seen him get submitted quite a few times as of lately as well, if I remember correctly. So it's like, this seems like the obvious answer, but it's almost like you have to see what's going to happen that night to see, to tell. It's hard to just say right off the bat, this guy's going to take him down, or Cub has good defense, Cub's going to piece him up. It's kind of like whoever guy asserts their will more that night, I think is going to have the more successful night. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I just, for whatever happens, people should know, and I think they do know that Cub is definitely one of the good guys, though. In the organization, and just like for everything that he's been through in his life. I mean, this was a bad kid, a troubled kid, spent time in juvie and has gone completely the other way and advises kids and how, is always trying to help people better their lives. He's just a really good guy. So
I agree.
Definitely always wish him well. So anyway, so I'll be leaving. I got a very early flight on Thursday morning. But I'll be excited to get down there in Tampa. And so it'll be fun. Let me double check that there's any more questions. Also, before I want to make sure I mention the fact that we have a new interview with Jeremy Stevens. I spoke to Jeremy on Friday, and so we talked a lot about, obviously, the rebooked Yair Rodriguez fight and what all happened in Mexico City and about his eye and then like healing up and rebooking it to Boston. So we definitely, people should definitely look at that because that fight is next Friday. But also we started a new segment here. And Alan, at some point we're going to have to play it with you, but we call it No Wrong Answers. And this is a jar of random questions. And so now this is something where we start doing with fighters. And just to kind of get them out of their head, we could do a No Wrong Answers with you, Alan. But here, hold on. I found a couple more questions. So, this is interesting. Luck Required is asking, what are you and I dressing up for as Halloween? And then they said, wait, what are you and Alan dressing up for as Halloween? Not as too MMA related. We can't wear masks now. We call him Bane. I don't know. So this is a little bit of a confusing tweet. But do you have Halloween plans? Do you know what you're dressing up as?
Don't have anything yet. I took my son to a Halloween store the other day. Got him a ninja outfit. Cage will be a ninja. Go figure. And I was kind of eyeballing things, but I don't know just yet. So I'll be honest, guys. I don't dress up every year. I really don't. I'm not always into like the dress up party things.
Right.
So I have to decide that. Still waiting to see.
Yeah, still waiting here too. We were almost going to go to the Halloween store, and then we did. I mean, I have some like wigs and things. Like I might just throw something together. I do think that our Walking Dead thing from a few years ago was pretty cool.
Kind of killed that. Yep.
But yeah.
Plus the zombie, Wade zombied out and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you see? And are you planning to go see the Joker though? Have you seen that?
Have not seen it yet. Heard some. I wasn't even aware of this, but like the whole. I don't want to make this a crazy podcast, but the whole theater shooting thing.
Yeah.
So I was hearing like warnings about like because it really goes deep inside the mind of a psychopath, and so there were like warnings about it. So I don't go to the movies that often. I usually try to steal it on the on the TV or whatever. But with those warnings and whatnot, I was like, maybe we'll just stay home and catch it when it comes out.
Yeah, I was like not running right out to opening weekend, but I do want to see it. But if anybody's seen it, I am quite curious the take on it. So. I feel like, tomorrow also we'll be getting a bunch of interviews. So, Ali has put together a press conference basically with a bunch of the people that he represents. Everybody knows Ali Abdelaziz. So supposedly we'll get everybody from like Frankie Edgar and Verdum, but also like Mark Madsen, who just went over in Denmark, but also like Rashad's supposed to be there and Kamaru, and basically he had a list of like 15 fighters or something like that are supposedly going to be there tomorrow. So we'll see, but we're planning to go to that. So, folks should just kind of stay tuned to, MMA Heat channel and Karyn Bryant channel, here on YouTube or whatever, and MMAHeat.com, because we'll be getting some interviews and press or things like that we'll be able to upload, because a lot of those folks have fights coming up, or maybe they're angling for some stuff. So there's some fun stuff to talk to people about. So.
And that's a very smart idea from Ali as a manager promoting the brand and his fighters. Win-win.
Yeah, it is. All right, so Alan, on social media, I can be found at KB Heat on Instagram. I didn't think about that. KB Heat on Instagram, Karyn Bryant across the board everywhere else, and of course we have MMA Heat across the board. But again, folks should check out that Jeremy Stevens interview because it's fun.
Why'd you have to think about it, Karyn? You haven't been following yourself or looking up your own profile? You haven't been swiping to see how many likes you got lately or something?
Yeah.
You stalk yourself. I know a lot of people that. My wife is one. She likes to see every little comment, every follow.
Yeah.
She looks at her page and she goes, "Babe, look how good my pictures are." And I'm like, "Would you stop looking at your own profile?" I never look at my profile page, like all the things. Anyway, but if you want to follow me, I'll be happy, guys. Right. At Alan Jouban across the board, all social media, guys. Check me out.
Right. And also, by the way, since everybody met Harmsy earlier, SoCal Harmony is her Instagram.
Boop.
Follow her. Awesome. All right. So next time we talk, it'll be after Tampa, and we might have a new strawweight contender there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Very cool.
Cool. All right. Well, folks, thanks for watching, and you can always get these as audio downloads as well at MMA.audio. I'm Karyn Bryant signing off. Thanks for watching.
Alan Jouban. Take care, guys. Have a good one.